What's up everybody, Hibiscus Moon, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to use a pendulum. I have a super old YouTube video on how to use a pendulum. I think I did this one back in 2009, so it's almost 10 years old. Is that possible? A 10-year-old YouTube video? So I want to talk to you about, well, I want to update that video and maybe add some other little anecdotes into this new updated version because I really feel kind of weird referring people back to these old videos when I used to do them with my head cut off. I wasn't in the video. All you saw were my hands because at the time I was a science department head, taught science classes, and I really wasn't allowed to talk about crystal healing openly at the time. Now I am, have been for a while, and so I wanted to redo that video with my face actually in it. So I first learned about the power of a pendulum, really, one day in 1993, watching an episode of Oprah. I was home from college, in between shifts at my waitressing job, and I happened to catch this episode of Oprah where I first learned about Deepak Chopra, and he was explaining to her and blowing her mind, teaching her how to use a very simple pendulum.
Now bigger and bigger circles. There you are.
Oh my heavens.
Okay.
I didn't think I could do it. I was feeling a lot of pressure here.
Okay. Well, listen. Now,
I can't believe it's doing it.
Yeah. And now have the idea that it's going to reverse the circle. So if it's making
Oh, no, I don't know if I can do that.
Just have the idea.
Okay.
I proceeded to make my own pendulum that I used for a very long time after that show, after seeing that, using a dog tag collar chain and a washer. I still have it to this day. I used it as my pendulum for a very, very long time. You certainly don't need to go get a fancy crystal pendulum. However, having crystal pendulums, and you can choose different crystals depending on what your intention for that pendulum is, does give us a tool and a support to kind of angle what it is that we're trying to do. For instance, an amethyst pendulum like this one would be great for enhancing our intuitive and psychic abilities. Since crystals hold different light frequencies, they actually entrain different energies depending on the crystal that we use in our pendulum. There are very simple pendulums that are simply just a chain and a crystal. There are more elaborate pendulums, like this is white agate with sterling silver, a bit of suede, some rainforest jasper, a nice feather for the fob. So you can go elaborate, you can go simple, and you can go with really simple, really, really simple. So that brings me to the topic of the parts of a pendulum. Not necessary that you know this, but the part that you hold is known as the fob, and the part that bobs up and down is known as the bob. Whether you choose simple or elaborate is totally up to you. It's your preference, and it really doesn't make a difference as far as the types of information that you're going to receive. Now, when you ask your pendulum a question, you want to make sure that it's not worded as an open-ended question, that you rephrase it as a yes or no question. For example, where did I leave my car keys? Is not going to work well with a pendulum. You can rephrase it by continually asking, kind of like the hot and cold game, like, are my car keys in the house? Are my car keys in the living room? Are my car keys near the couch? And you can get yes or no for each of that, and you can actually use the pendulum to help you locate the car keys or whatever it is that you lost. Pendulums can be quite effective for that kind of work, and you'll see once you get going on that. You see, when you're getting your answers from the pendulum, it's not actually the pendulum that holds the answers and that it's telling you, and it's got this special brain magic ability inside of it. The pendulum is a tool and a support that allows you to tap into your higher self that already holds the answers. Now, when using a pendulum, I do recommend that you steady your elbow on something stable. Okay, it's not necessary, but I do find that over the years with myself and our students that it's much easier to not shake and have better control of just steadying your elbow on something stable so that you're not worrying and using your muscles and your attention on keeping your arms still. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you. Okay, so here I want to demonstrate figuring out your yes or no for your pendulum. And you do want to do this because you really want to figure out the personality of your pendulum. Every pendulum is unique. The yes signal on one pendulum may be different on a different pendulum. And if your pendulum ever becomes unreliable, you're going to want to definitely cleanse it, and maybe you'll end up having to switch pendulums if that doesn't do the trick for you. So, okay, you want to concentrate, you want to make sure you're not talking or animating like I'm doing right now and moving your pendulum. You want to get it really still, and then you want to ask it something that you know the answer to. For instance, I'm really hungry right now, so I'm going to ask my pendulum. I know the answer to that is yes. It's like my truth question, so I'm going to test it and say, okay, am I hungry now? And I'm watching it closely. And it's nodding back and forth towards me and away from me. So that is my pendulum's yes. Okay, notice my elbow is steady on the table, and that is my pendulum's yes. You want to continually look at the pendulum and focus on it. So I know that for this pendulum, this back and forth movement, which I'm exaggerating right now, is my yes. Okay, so then usually the opposite, perpendicular to that, is going to be the no, where it's going to my right and to my left. Okay, so that's how you determine your yes or no on your pendulum. It's also very important when using a crystal to not be too attached or attached at all to the outcome. Like you really, really, really want a yes on this question, you're really attached to it, you're probably not the one who should be asking the pendulum. It's best to ask a friend or someone else to use the pendulum in that case for you, someone else who's not attached to the outcome of the answer to that question. So you can use a pendulum to get the answers to yes or no questions. You can use it to actually balance your chakras. That's something I go deep into in my Certified Crystal Healer course. You can even use it to help you shop for crystals when you're selecting which crystals should go home with you. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my updated version of my pendulum video. Crystal blessings and namaste.